Since the election, the topic of sanctuary cities has gained a lot of attention. But what really is a sanctuary city?
Can you tell me what a sanctuary city is?
Well, that's up for interpretation. There are many different definitions for a sanctuary city. Different groups will interpret it different ways. There's also different names for it. You'll hear some people call them sanctuary cities, safe haven cities, safe cities, welcoming cities. There's many different things, ways to look at it. But for today's purposes, let's just narrow it down to a simpler definition, and that is where a jurisdiction, whether it's a city or county, does not cooperate with federal immigration authorities for immigration enforcement. So that could mean police officers not asking for immigration status during a police stop, traffic stop, or county jails not holding an individual for the purpose of deportation when ICE requests that they do so.
In what ways do you think the recent election has affected this debate about sanctuary cities?
Well, I think the worst way that it's affected sanctuary cities is really politicized it to the point where people aren't really talking about the real issues anymore. It's you're on one side or the other. You're for Trump or you're against Trump. And so that to be against Trump means that you have to be in favor of sanctuary cities no matter what the reality is. And I'll give you an example of that. My organization, Mayors for Safe Cities, doesn't have anything to do with immigration per se. What it is against is the concept of releasing rapists and murderers and other kinds of hardened criminals back into the community.
How do you respond to Republican officials repeating Trump's rapist or murderer's rhetoric?
Again, this is complete false narrative. Research after research has shown that immigrants are less likely to commit crimes. We've seen the data that shows that sanctuary jurisdictions actually create safer environments. So to hear Republicans continue to say that this whole rhetoric about rapists is just completely wrong. It's just empty rhetoric, and all this is, it's really just finding a scapegoat, to really try to blame someone for the lack of activity in Congress and try to vilify a group of people. We've seen them do this with the immigrant community. We saw them do this, back in the day with other groups. So it's just wrong. And I would say to them, look at the data, look at the facts. The facts show you otherwise.
Do you have any particular study or a piece of data or a statistic that can help you in your argument or your position?
Well, there's lots of studies that show that people that offend reoffend. So it's not even in dispute that if you spent time in state prison, the chances of you committing a violent crime against somebody is much, much higher than somebody who's never spent time in state prison.
In that respect, would you say that sanctuary city laws make our cities more dangerous? Or would you say that there are circumstances in which they give shelter to people, just regular people?
First off, I think you have to define what that means. The rhetoric is that by not being a sanctuary city, you're allowing the federal government to come in and do raids and grab the guy who's the gardener and grab the woman who's the housekeeper and drag her and him back to their original countries, leaving their children behind. That would be a horrible thing. That's not what I'm talking about, but oftentimes that's the rhetoric that's coming from the other side. So in regard to what I think what's really talking about, yes, I think by becoming a sanctuary city, you make the city incredibly more dangerous.
And so how do these laws make our city safer or more dangerous? Well, that's actually, if you look at the data, it's going to show you that sanctuary cities or policies are very beneficial to our country as a whole. Now, lately we've been hearing a lot of talk on the right wing about sanctuary cities creating safe havens for criminals. Donald Trump said that he will defund sanctuary cities. because they protect criminals, and it's all about the criminals and crime and danger. But that's actually entirely wrong. One great researcher out of San Diego named Tom Wong, great professor at UCSD, did a lot of research and actually came up with some great numbers that we can share. And these are statistics based on numbers being provided by the FBI and the federal government on crime rates and all these other factors. So what were the results? The results found that there were on average 35.5 fewer crimes committed per 10,000 people in sanctuary jurisdictions compared to non-sanctuary jurisdictions. This also led to higher median household incomes. The average household income was $4,353 higher in sanctuary counties compared to non-sanctuary counties. The poverty rate was 2.3% lower on average in sanctuary counties compared to non-sanctuary counties. The unemployment rate was also lower. So what the data suggests is actually that when local law enforcement is focused on keeping our communities safe and building that trust among communities, regardless of your immigration status, you're going to see community members feeling safer in their communities. You're going to see them more less likely to be engaged in the local economy, and this actually brings in great benefits to individual households, communities, counties, and the economy as a whole.
What do you think is one thing that you wish that the opposition could understand and that you wish they could hear from you?
I guess in respect to immigration, I think that they should understand that wanting to have borders and wanting to have rules and wanting to protect the people that live in America is not a racist thing. It's not a dangerous thing. It's not a crazy thing. It's very common. All states have done that throughout human history. They've protected their borders, they protected their language, they protected their culture. And without borders, language, and culture, your country will fall apart. And I think that to say that having that position is an extreme position or a racist position is damaging, and I don't think it's helping anything.